$25,000 repair bill was hiding behind fresh teak and brand new leather cushions. That's what nearly sank one couple's dream of sailing the Caribbean before they'd even finished their first season. And it's happening to boat buyers every single week because almost everyone makes the same 6 mistakes. Today, I'm showing you exactly what experienced sailors check before they ever sign a purchase agreement. And by the end, I'll tell you what happened to that couple and how a different couple avoided the exact same trap and ended up living the dream instead. Let's start with the mistake that kills more deals than any other. Mistake number 1, the galley that turns into a hazard at sea. Most weekend sailors evaluate a galley while tied securely to a calm concrete dock. They step down the companionway, stand in front of the stove, think it feels spacious, and move on. What they don't do is imagine standing in that exact spot heeled over at 20 degrees, in a 4-foot chop, 10 miles offshore. 2 people trying to pass each other, water boiling on the stove, no secure place to brace your hips. I've watched this exact scene play out. A couple inspects an offshore cruiser with a beautiful, open-concept, apartment-style kitchen in the listing photos. They step below, and within 30 seconds, an experienced captain spots the problem. Countertops too wide to reach across for support.
We've got a
Center
gas
line to drain on a
5-burner
port
hob
tap.
fitted as a
0
large
dedicated
fridge
handrails for
and
heavy
freezer.
weather. They thank the broker and never call back. The listing price drops. The description changes to luxurious open floor plan. None of it fixes the design flaw underneath. So ask yourself this every time you stand in a galley. If I'm thrown into a sudden jibe at 2 a.m. in heavy seas, is there anything here to stop me from flying across the cabin? If the answer is no, walk away. Mistake number 2, the companionway that ages with you. This one looks completely innocent in broker photos and reveals itself the moment you actually try to go below deck. A steep, unprotected, ladder-style companionway. A wide-angle lens makes those vertical steps look clean and modern. What the photo can't show you is what it feels like to climb down wet wooden steps at night in a rainstorm, hands full of tether lines, with nothing solid to grip. Most buyers judge the size of the aft berth or the nav station and treat the companionway as just a doorway. Then they're out at sea, they need to check the radar in a hurry, and suddenly that ladder demands the balance of a gymnast. Here's the test. Walk down facing forward, at a normal pace, without gripping both sides. If you feel any hesitation, the boat's architecture just told you no. Buy the boat you can still safely climb down when you're tired and wet, not just the one that feels easy on a sunny afternoon. Mistake number 3, what's hiding under the floorboards. Forget the electronics, forget the rigging. The first thing an experienced buyer does is lift the floorboards and go straight to the deepest part of the bilge. Picture this, flashlight in hand, knees on fiberglass, 30 seconds in, and you already know more about this boat's structural health than 10 pages of a glossy listing packet could tell you. You're not expecting a spotless, dry-swept pan. Real sailing leaves dust and a little moisture behind. What you're hunting for is different. Clean keel bolt washers, tight nuts, and 0 rust bleeding from the hull joint. Here's why this matters so much. The keel sump shows you exactly how the boat handled the enormous leverage of its ballast over the years. An owner who painted over weeping keel bolts instead of fixing them didn't hide the problem. They just delayed it and handed the bill to whoever buys next. That could be you. If the bilge looks wrong, call a structural surveyor before you get emotionally attached. If it looks right, you've just cleared the biggest hurdle on the whole boat. Mistake number 4, the leak you can't see from the deck. This is the repair that stops negotiations cold. Chain plates and hidden deck core rot. Here's how it usually plays out. A buyer falls for a traditional cutter-rigged cruiser. The stainless chain plates on deck look robust, shiny, brand new. An offer goes in. Then the surveyor arrives with a moisture meter and a sounding hammer, and the verdict lands. Rainwater has been leaking through the chain plate seals for 5 years. The plywood bulkhead core underneath is completely rotted. The deck around the shrouds is delaminated. On a 42-foot boat, that repair runs $15,000 to $35,000. Figures based on typical U.S. boatyard labor and materials, so your region may vary. Either way, it gets added straight onto your purchase price. The offer gets pulled. The boat goes back to rotting at the slip. Never skip a physical tap test around the chain plates. A few $100s on a proper survey is what stands between you and a project boat wearing a turnkey disguise. Mistake number 5, the engine that can't save you when it matters. Picture this. You're 200 yards from the rocks, the wind just shifted against you, and your 20 horsepower diesel is screaming, but the boat isn't moving forward. That's not a hypothetical. It happens every season, to real sailors, in real inlets. Classic cruisers from the 70s and 80s were often fitted with small 20 or 30 horsepower engines. On paper, in a calm marina, that looks like plenty. Then you're punching through a narrow coastal inlet against a 4-knot current with a rising headwind. And if the engine can't hold steerage under load, your sailboat becomes a drifting hazard at the exact moment you need control the most. Most first-time buyers check the sail inventory and the cabin layout and never once look up the horsepower to displacement ratio. They find out the hard way, burning fuel in a swell while making zero headway. Check the engine specs before anything else. If it can't push that hull through a head sea, the woodwork inside won't matter. Mistake number 6. The wiring. Nobody can explain. Here's the filter experienced buyers apply before they ever sign anything. An electrical system with no documentation and no clear diagram. Maybe the last owner really was a brilliant engineer who rewired the whole boat perfectly and just never wrote it down. It happens, but betting your safety on maybe is a massive gamble. A clean marine-grade panel tells you the boat was maintained to ABYC standards. A tangle of automotive wire nuts and mystery switches tells you the previous owner fixed symptoms, not problems. Ask to see the panel and the battery management layout before you go any further. If it looks like a bird's nest, price a full rewire into your offer right now. If you're currently boat shopping, save this list. It might be the $30,000 checklist that saves your season. And if you've already been burned by one of these 6, tell me which one in the comments. I read every single one. Subscribe if you want the next video. The exact questions to ask a broker before you ever schedule a survey.